Welcome back, everybody. It is not only Science Sunday, but it is Kaylin's first Science Sunday.
Y'all, I am so excited and nervous at the same time. I feel like Brittany's always trying different things with me, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to expect. But this one, I'm excited for.
So this one is not as, I would say, explosive as some of the other ones I've done, where I've used like baking powder and hydrogen peroxide. This is an easy one that actually a lot of people might have already seen at home. It is growing a rainbow with the kids.
Okay.
Okay, and it's really simple. You only need literally paper towels, plastic or other clear cups, and food coloring. So I've already done one and made it look nice, hopefully in the front. I did this earlier this morning, and I did it because what I noticed, fun fact, I practiced these at home the night before to make sure they work. And I noticed that it kind of was taking a long time for it to work. So I wanted to have something to show everybody first. So that's what you see in the front. Okay, so this is growing the rainbow comes from a term called capillary action, which I know we talked about that before in the break. It's how plants, for example, get their water. So of course the roots are in the ground, and a lot of people question, well, how does the water go up and kind of, treat the tree if it's working against gravity? Well, capillary action works by essentially the water being able to move through any kind of fibrous material, and it's kind of a mix of what's called adhesion and cohesion. Adhesion is when the water molecules are really close together. Cohesion is caused by water molecules being attracted to other things. So essentially the water, which is in the food coloring, is attracted to the fiber that's in the paper towels, allowing it to move upward, working against gravity.
And parents, this is essential because while your kids are playing, they need to know there is a big lesson in this that's teaching you about the world.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the goal of all of these Science Sundays, right? Is maybe you want to try this at home, maybe you watch later. I've had some teachers sometimes who have emailed me wanting the link, they've tried it in school. So this is my done one, but do you want to kind of work our way through how
let's
we
give
would
it
do
a
this at home?
try.
Okay, so
Have
I'm
a
gonna
couple
have you do
tools
it.
here.
Yeah, so you don't need necessarily a specific amount of water, but I'll tell you that when I was practicing, I noticed less water, more food coloring was better.
Okay.
So first you're gonna set up multiple cups in a row. I just gave you one just so kind of for aesthetic purposes.
And so you guys can see, I do have a little food coloring here and then the water here. So can I go ahead and pour?
Yeah, so you can pour that in there. Okay, so first you do the water, very, very simple. And then you're gonna do the food coloring next.
Okay.
Again, the more the better, so feel free to squirt as much as you want in there. That, of course, is green food coloring. I personally, the food coloring that I use for a lot of these experiments comes with a red, a green, a yellow, and a blue. I know a lot also do only primary colors, so you can kind of mix your own. So these four were kind of the ones I started with. I made this purple. I actually think it's not working as well just because the blue is very dominative, so I tried to mix with the red, and and it was kind of all over the place. So you'll notice, of course, kind of how dense your food coloring is, the better it will do, which I think you did a good job. So then, of course, we have a yellow here. I'd already kind of prepped that. You would essentially put them, in order like that, and you want to fold the paper towel, that way. And then you're essentially putting it in both ends.
Do I just dip it in?
Yeah, you can dip it in there and then dip it in the yellow. So essentially every one should have 2 paper towels in there, other than, of course, your ends. And so basically, essentially over time, Kaylin, is that the water and the color will travel up and eventually make your rainbow. So I mentioned, of course, I noticed that less water, more food coloring was better. I also did notice that if you have really thick paper towels, it will be a little bit slower, so a thinner paper towel might be good just if you're trying to do it quick with the kids. And something else that I did notice too is that the more dense your color is, of course, the better it works. So I added a lot of extra water to the purple to kind of balance out how dominant the blue was. So it's not traveling as well. So you can also kind of talk your kids through that. Maybe even talk about the scientific method, ask them what they think is going to happen beforehand. And a kind of a cool little lesson as to, how plants get their water and how this water and color can work against gravity, because most of the time you would think, well, of course the water can't travel against gravity, but it surely can.
A fun, simple experiment and colorful. I think the kids would enjoy it. Let us know if you guys give it a try. We'll be right back.